Hi there, I'm Hayden Crawford from Dreamtime Academy and I'm a wellness coach and spiritual teacher specialising in numerology and colour therapy. Welcome to this Level 1 Numerology course. Now, over the next 4 modules, you're going to be exploring the magical world of Pythagorean numerology and understanding how it aligns with colour therapy and the planets. You'll be discovering through your birth date how it holds your unique personality blueprint, your strengths and weaknesses, your true soul purpose, and the best times for you to embark on new projects and ventures. This enlightening course will offer you practical guidance on how you can interpret not only your own, but other people's birth charts, so that you can understand them with greater appreciation, depth, and clarity. So, just to summarise, this Level 1 Pythagorean numerology course will cover the metaphysical understanding of numbers, the meaning of your ruling number, day number, and life cycle number, the Pythagorean numerical grid, the arrows of individuality, and as a special bonus, an introduction into the powerful world of colour therapy and how it all aligns together. There'll be a Level 1 assessment at the end of the course to consolidate your learnings, and if passed, you will be awarded a Level 1 Certificate of Achievement through the Dreamtime Academy. I'll see you in Module 1. Bye for now. Hello again, welcome back. Now in Module 1 you're going to be exploring the meaning of numbers 1 to 9. You're going to be decoding the 3 planes of existence and you're going to be unwrapping the 3 aspects of self. Plus, you're also going to learn how to transfer your date of birth into the Pythagorean numerical grid so that you can start exploring your birth chart in a lot more detail. But first, let's look at what Pythagorean numerology actually is. Now, did you know that it's actually an ancient science which is used to determine a person's personality traits, their soul purpose, their strengths and weaknesses, their skills, abilities and talents, their compatibility with other people, plus the best times for them to embark on new projects and ventures. Numerology reveals the secrets of your own unique character blueprint, enabling you to make the wisest choices for yourself. It's simple to learn, fantastically reliable, and extremely beneficial for understanding yourself and others. This simple step-by-step guide will take you on a journey through the meanings of numbers 1 to 9 in Pythagorean numerology, teaching you how to calculate your ruling number, day number, personal year cycle number, arrows of individuality, and so that you can impress other people with the deep insights about them and also get to know yourself better too. So what do the numbers mean? Well, let's start off with number 1. Now this is the first physical number. It's a doing number. It's the only absolute number and it's the emblem for divine expression. It highlights our verbal self-expression and it relates to the ego and the male. And it emphasises our verbal communication skills. Number 2 is the first spiritual or feeling number. It represents the female and the duality found in humans, as well as our desire to become part of a pair. It's the number of sensitivity and intuition. Number 3 is the first mind or thinking number. It opens a passage to the conscious mind and to rational understanding. It's the focus of left brain activity and the key to memory. It's represented by a triangle which portrays the connection between the mind, body and soul. Number 4 is at the centre of the physical doing plane. It's the key to methodology, practicality and organising, symbolised by the square, the basis of practical assembly and materialism. Number 5 is at the centre of the soul feeling plane and is in the very middle of the birth chart. It's the spiritual number representing love, freedom and expression. Number 6 is at the centre of the mind thinking plane. And it represents creativity, the unification of the left and right sides of the brain. It also represents the opposite of creativity, destruction, which manifests as worry, anxiety, stress and depression. Number 7 is the symbol of the temple, the human body, and the 7 chakras. It's the teaching learning number and one of practical philosophical experience. And these lessons are usually learned through sacrifice. Number 8 is the most operative spiritual number, situated at the active end of the soul plane. It's the number of wisdom expressed professedly through loving action. And it represents independence, organisation and control. Number 9 is a threefold number at the action end of the mind plane. It represents ambition, the physical aspect, responsibility, the thinking aspect, and idealism, the spiritual aspect. And it combines all of the foresight and wisdom of the previous numbers. So next, let's take a look at the basic self, the conscious self and the high self. Now these are 3 terms used to describe the 3 aspects of self, starting off with the basic self, which is expressed through the 5 senses: seeing, hearing, tasting, touching and smelling. And these are the dominant functions of the basic self. But also it embodies other aspects such as laughing, crying and talking. Now basic self people are ego driven and are left brain motivated, and the numbers that come into this category are 1, 4 and 7, all of the numbers on the physical plane. Next is the conscious self, which is home to our thoughts and attitudes, but it can also be the place of joy and sadness. It's the domain of idealism, memory and creativity. So this is the connection between the left and right lobes of the brain, and when negative, it becomes the unconscious self. It becomes reactive, deceitful, unclear and stress-ridden, and can manifest as playing the role of the victim. When positive, conscious self helps us to interpret intuition, love and wisdom. It's secured in memory and links the past with the present. Positivity can be expressed as self-confidence, self-esteem, astute idealism and enhanced creativity. And the numbers associated with this are the 3, 6 and 9, all the numbers on the mind plane. The high self includes our moral ethics, profound ideas and spiritual values, an aspect of sensitivity and feeling. And it can express itself as love, wisdom and intuition. The highest form of expression, the God within. Action is largely right-brained, creative, spiritual and compassionate. The high self is best aided by the enhancement of our intuition, which leads to an expanse of personal freedom. The numbers associated here are the 2, 5 and 8, all the numbers on the soul plane. Next, let's take a look at the meaning of each plane, starting off with the mind plane, which is mental, and it represents the human head, and it expresses itself as memory, thinking, analysing, rationalising, imagining, creating, idealism, responsibility and ambition. Next is the soul plane, which is emotional, and this one represents the human heart and it governs our sensitivity. It embraces love, freedom, intuition, positive emotions, spiritual independence, wisdom and artistic expression. And finally we've got the physical plane, which represents human activity. This one embraces verbal expression, motivation, organisation, practicality, materialism, learning through sacrifice and patience. Next, let's take a look at the Pythagorean birth chart. The way to understanding the real you is revealed through your birth chart. It unveils your strengths and weaknesses in an instant and follows a simple formula that's easy to grasp. Stage 1 is to transfer your birth date into numbers, remembering to include the full year. For example, if you were born on the 15th of June 1973, it would be 15/6/1973. Stage 2 is to create your birth chart as shown. It appears like a noughts and crosses grid. Stage 3 is the 9 spaces on the grid house each of the 9 numbers. If a number isn't present in the birth date, then that space remains empty. And the numbers are positioned in the grid in this way. If any number in the birth date is repeated twice, 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times, then it's positioned in the box as the identical number on the grid. It's very easy. As you can see from this example, the numbers 3, 6 and 9 are on the mind plane and form part of the conscious self. The numbers 2, 5 and 8 are on the soul plane and form part of the high self. And finally, the numbers 1, 4 and 7 are the basic self and form part of the physical plane. Next, all you have to do is transfer all the numbers from your birth date into the corresponding places on the birth chart. So, taking the example that you were born on the 15th of June 1973, your numbers would appear on the birth chart like this. So what does all this mean, and how do we analyse our birth chart to be able to understand ourselves and other people better? Stage 4. So on analysis of this person's birth chart, we can see that they have 2 1s, no 2, 1 3, no 4, 1 5, 1 6, 1 7, no 8, and 1 9. So that gives them 3 numbers on the mind plane, 1 number on the soul plane, and 3 numbers on the physical plane. In Module 2, you're going to be learning what it means if a person has more than 1 number in each of the boxes and how that reflects on their personality blueprint. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Hello again, welcome back to Module 2. Now in this section you're going to be learning what it means when there's anywhere between 0 and 5 numbers in each of the squares on the birth chart. So a great place to start is with number 1, which is an expression of the physical body in terms of connection to the outside world. So if you only have 1 1 in your birth chart, then it is a hindrance of verbal self-expression and providing clarity of your inner feelings. If you've got 2 1s in your birth chart, then that's balanced self-expression. You're a good listener as well as being a good speaker, and you can see both sides of a situation. There are 2 very distinct types of people with 3 1s in their birth chart. Firstly, you've got the very talkative type, those that really enjoy life and seek to share that with other people. And secondly, you've got those with no numbers on the soul plane who are a little bit more shy and introspective. They can open up when they're in friendly company, but they can express themselves much more easily in writing. Those with 4 1s in their birth chart have difficulty with verbal self-expression and are often misunderstood. They tend to hide emotional strife behind a smile. They suffer internally and they need to learn to relax more so that they can express their inner feelings. If you have 5 or more 1s in your birth chart, then this is an ego suppression which is created to negate the difficulties with verbal self-expression. It's an aloofness which can ultimately lead to loneliness, and it can mean that you're fanatical about your appearance and secretly admire your own reflection. But also, it is suggestive of mental imbalances. If you don't have any 1s in your birth chart, which is only ever seen with people born after the year 2000, then this can manifest as, again, difficulties with verbal self-expression, but also because the 1 is masculine and relates to the ego, you can find that these people tend to lean more towards their feminine, intuitive and sensitive aspects, but also that they may not have much of an ego. Number 2 is the key to sensitivity, intuition and feeling. If you have 1 2 in your birth chart, you've got a sound level of basic intuition. 2 2s is the ideal quality for easy development of intuitive sensitivity and an amazingly reliable guide for first impressions. 3 2s is unbalanced sensitivity, a hypersensitivity that can be an emotional burden to carry. These people are highly attuned to the feelings of other people. They can be quite empathic and get deeply involved in the problems of other people as well, and often they can display an aloofness which can be a form of self-preservation. People with 4 2s require a high level of delicacy because they can be spiteful and sarcastic and have a really bad temper. They can be extremely impatient and they can have unreliable intuition because they're prone to misinterpret it. People with 5-2s are extremely rare. They can have enormous sensitivity or can be totally reactive. They need special counselling. For people with no 2s in their birth chart, they can struggle to access or trust their intuition, so it does require further development. Now, on a quick side note, if you're a woman, then you almost get a surrogate 2, which sits alongside of any 2s that are present within the birth chart. Now, this isn't put into the chart, but it's just something to note. And that's because women are naturally more intuitive than men. Number 3 governs the memory. And if someone has 1-3 in their birth chart, it's easy for them to maintain alert mental activity. 2-3s is increased mental alertness, amplified memory and literary ability. Anyone with 3-3s in their numerology can lose contact with reality, which can result in isolation, which brings seclusion. Then they find it very difficult to trust. Anyone with 4-3s in their numerology can result in excessive imagination and mental hyperactivity. Plus, it can also show signs of intense fear, worry or stress. And it also can demonstrate a very impractical outlook on life. And for anyone who doesn't have any 3s in their birth chart, then they may require assistance with developing their memory and imagination. Number 4 is a practical and material number. These people are tidy, meticulous and organised, but it can demonstrate a degree of impatience. People with 1-4 in the birth chart are very active people and have a natural identity with the practical. This includes financial, technical, organisational and physical aspects. If you've got 2-4s in your birth chart, then this creates an unbalanced outlook, and it means that you relate everything to the physical and material. 3-4s offers an even greater difficulty with rising above the physical. These people are allured by hard manual work to the point of exhaustion, and it can also create weak lower limbs, such as the knees and feet. If you've got 4-4s in your birth chart, then extreme care must be taken when getting involved in physical activities. These people can also be highly sceptical of anything that's non-physical. For anyone who doesn't have a 4 in their birth chart, then these people can demonstrate impatience with people who aren't as practical as them. One solution here might be to go out of judgment when this occurs. Number 5 is comparable to the heart chakra, as it symbolises love and freedom of expression, both emotionally and artistically. People with 1-5 in their birth chart have the best chance of achieving a balanced personality, as it assists them to be able to gain emotional control. They have a natural aptitude to be able to respond rather than react to emotional situations. Anyone with 2-5s in their birth chart has a driving intensity, and this conveys an air of great confidence and poise, but is actually more aspiring than factual. Now, it can create emotional upheaval in these people's environment, and it can lead to health problems such as digestive ulcers or health concerns around the solar plexus. 3-5s is aggravated emotions. These people can be exceptionally difficult for people to deal with. Anyone with 4-5s in their birth chart have an overwhelming intensity of feeling and sensitivity around the solar plexus, which can be almost life-threatening. Now, they are highly accident prone and live in an advanced state of stress. And anyone that doesn't have a 5 within their birth chart can really struggle to understand how they're feeling and their emotions. It can be the cause of many misunderstandings because these people tend to react to emotions instead of responding. Number 6 represents human creativity as well as its opposite, destruction. When you have 1-6 in your birth chart, it offers domestic responsibility and a deep love of the home, and also more personal expression in the artistic fields. Having 2 6s in your birth chart can be a heavy handicap and a mighty challenge. It creates worry, stress, anxiety and irritability around the home and the workplace. Having 3 6s in your birth chart creates even greater worry towards the home. Now, this is a worry that's of the individual's own making, a consequence of domestic confusion. Now, women tend to suffer more, and they can be chronically possessive and protective around their partners and their children. And rest and relaxation and creativity are really good antidotes. Anyone with 4/6s in their birth chart have exceptional creativity. However, the negative aspect is always ready to dominate. They can become pitiful worriers, and they can sabotage their health and their relationships with endless complaining. If there isn't a 6 present within the birth chart, then these people need to hone their creative abilities with a little bit of assistance from their intuitive skills. Number 7 indicates the amount of learning that one must compile, usually through sacrifice. Now, physically, 7 represents practical activity as a means of learning and teaching. Now, there is a need here to segregate from worldly possessions in order to combine the body and soul. When there's 1/7 present in someone's birth chart as part of the soul's learning, then sacrifices in either love, health, or money need to be confronted. This can be intended as part of the soul's advancement, releasing to acquire. Seeing 2/7s present in someone's birth chart increases the intensity of the lessons learned. These people might have to experience losses in 2 of the 3 basic areas of love, health, or finances. They can blame other people for their problems and become irritable and sullen. Having 3/7s in the birth chart indicates particularly sad lives and losses in all of the 3 basic areas of love, health, and finances. However, this tests endurance and compassion. Now, some rely on sympathy in order to defend their existence and have a propensity towards depression. Having 4/7s in the birth chart, as you can imagine, is a severe forfeit. However, these people have the potential for swift evolution of spiritual consciousness. Having no 7s in the birth chart means that these people might need to achieve a deeper understanding of what it is to sacrifice, or they may not have that need to be able to learn through sacrifice in this lifetime. Number 8 beholds a double connotation. Spiritually, it's the number of wisdom, and physically, it's the number of active independence. It really brings about a sense of inflated organisation and control. Having 1/8 in the birth chart means that you will become very precise and scrupulous when living positively. However, when living negatively, can become emotionally unstable or reactive and lethargic and restless, resulting in numerous changes of the home or workplace or even relationships. Anyone with 2/8s in their birth chart can be fiercely independent. They have an acute power of judgment, which can be favourable or distressing. They should be encouraged to travel when they're younger because they like to go out into the world to be able to seek wisdom and truth. However, they must be really careful that this perceptiveness that they have doesn't cause them to become dictatorial, because that can create emotional conflict. Anyone with 3/8s in their birth chart have an acute restlessness. They have sometimes a feeling that life can be futile, and if pessimism prevails, then they need to seek out people that can understand them and love them enough to be able to bring them back in line. Now, for the positive types, then great wisdom and autonomy prevails. And if you've got 4/8s in your birth chart, then you're likely to be a highly excitable and almost hyperactive person. As a child, it would have been necessary for you to be encouraged to be entertained by being taken out in the world rather than sitting at home watching TV or playing computer games. And finally, if you don't have any 8s in your birth chart, you might need to purposely try and achieve your desired level of wisdom and independence to feel fulfilled. Number 9 is an extremely dynamic number denoted by the planet Mars. It's the number of war and success. It symbolises mental activity, and it's a representative of the right lobe of the brain, which is the power of idealism, its spiritual element. Its physical equivalent externalises as aspiration. If you have 1/9 in your birth chart, then it can manifest as ambition, idealism, and responsibility. Now, this influence has been with us all for the whole of the 1900s, and it's transpired as us needing to be able to control and discover more. Now, restraint is necessary here, and avoidance of anything improper. Anyone with 2/9s in their birth chart can have amplified perfectionism and can be a little bit serious as well. They have rash idealism, which can be almost impossible to achieve, and they can become very disapproving of anyone with lesser levels of morality. They need to maintain a good base level of practicality, which will help them with this idealism. Anyone with 3 nines in their birth chart have a remarkable level of idealism and ambition, which can create mental imbalances which are burdensome. When living negatively, it can get distorted and become anger and moodiness. 4-9 people are prone to being lost in the realm of fantasy. They may have disengaged from society through disappointment. Alternatively, they can act aggressively with a belligerent attitude and gain thrills from degrading other people. And anyone with 5 nines in their birth chart have major lessons in becoming practical and humane. And finally, anyone with no nines in their birth chart, as they mature, they might have to take on extra responsibility or seek out methods in which they can develop their wisdom and knowledge. Next, let's take a look at isolated numbers. Now, in a person's birth chart, if the numbers 1, 3, 7 or 9 are in the corners and they don't have any numbers around them, then that's what's classed as being an isolated number. So hence, we don't have an isolated 2, 4, 6, 8 or 5. It's only ever the numbers in the corners. Now, obviously, it will be amplified, these lessons, depending on how many numbers are in each of the corners with no other numbers around them. So for example, if you have an isolated 1 in your chart, then this is a pronounced feeling of isolation. Isolated 3s can be where the imagination runs riot and it can create a sense of paranoia. An isolated 7 can be lessons in sacrifice in one or more of the 3 lessons of love, health or money. And those lessons will repeat themselves time and time again until they're learned. And finally, with the isolated 9, it's a person can exhibit irrational idealism or unrequited ambition, which can be quite challenging as well. Now, it is important to remember that the keys to success is in the initial development of the qualities that the person lacks in relation to their numerical grid. In the next module, we're going to be exploring the arrows of individuality and learning how to calculate your day number. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hello again. Okay, so in Module 3, you're going to be exploring the arrows of individuality and learning how to calculate your day number. The more a numerologist practices this science, the more accurate their readings will become, and with this accuracy comes a honing of their intuition and a greater speed at being able to decipher the most outstanding features of a person's individuality. Experience teaches us that the first aspect of the birth chart that we look for is the compounding of any numbers, and this reveals any particular strengths that the person most certainly would have been drawing upon in the development of their personality. Then we look for any missing numbers to be able to ascertain the person's weaknesses. Now, the individual will either be seeking to overcome these or using their strengths in an effort to hide them. Next is our assessment of any arrows present. So arrows are found on a person's birth chart where any 3 numbers exist in a straight line, either diagonally, vertically or horizontally, or where there's missing or empty spaces in a straight line. So either diagonally, vertically or horizontally. Nice and easy, right? Arrows of numbers represent strengths in the person's personality, whereas arrows of missing spaces are actually weaknesses which can be overcome by the strengths of their numbers found within the person's birth chart. So the first arrow that we're going to be looking at today is called the arrow of determination, and this is where there is a presence of the 1, 5 and 9 in the person's birth chart, which goes diagonally as shown. Now, determination is the foundation of everything really, and when it's coupled with persistence, it can be used to overcome objections to plans as well as stubbornness. But these people need to learn that not everything that they come across is intended for them. If you observe the lack of the 1, 5 and 9 in a person's birth chart, then this is known as the arrow of procrastination, and this is where projects may be delayed or not undertaken at all. Anyone who has the 3, 5 and 7 present in their birth chart has what's called the arrow of spirituality, so there is a potential for deep spiritual awareness here. They prefer not to take advice from other people and prefer a life of practice rather than theory. Now, there is potential sadness in their earlier life here as well until they develop a deep spiritual and philosophical understanding of life. The next arrow we're going to look at is called the arrow of the inquirer, and this is the lack of the 3, 5 and 7, and this is one of weakness. The skeptic is someone who accepts nothing based on trust and needs to investigate things for themselves until they become convinced of a truth, and then they become a dogmatic convert. Anyone with all the numbers present on their mind plane, the 3, 6 and 9, has what's known as the arrow of intellect. For these people, there is an importance of intellect and a dominance of mental activity. This really is an active brain in which the memory dominates. However, some of these people would have a below average memory. The lack of the 3, 6 and 9 is known as the arrow of poor memory, and this is another negative arrow. Now, this immediately implies that the person has a poor memory, but it doesn't mean that they're unable to think or learn. They just have to work harder than everybody else to keep their memory active, and it can cause dementia in later life. Anyone who has all the numbers present on their soul plane, that's the 2, 5 and 8, have what's called the arrow of emotional balance. Now, there are an endless variety of mannerisms on display here. They possess a natural balance in their emotional life and a great depth of understanding on the spiritual, which is really beneficial in the new emerging golden age. Life is perceived to be a balance between the physical and the spiritual for these people. However, they do need to learn to lighten up a little bit and not take life so seriously. The lack of the 2, 5 and 8 is called the arrow of hypersensitivity. Now, varying degrees of emotional problems can arise within these people because their sensitivity is so strong. They have a weak soul protection, so they get easily hurt. So they can put up all sorts of defense mechanisms to avoid getting, sort of affected by other people. They can become shy and withdrawn or develop an outer hardness. Anyone with a 1, 4 and 7 in their birth chart have the arrow of practicality. Now, these are the doing people of this world, and often they're only ever satisfied when they're involved in the practical aspects of life. They're usually really good with their hands, but often do things without thinking them through. They can be motivated by worldly desires. Anyone without the 1, 4 and 7 in their birth chart have the arrow of disorder. Now, these people have the potential to slip into a life of theory if they don't put their life into action, which can leave them feeling really unfulfilled. A birth chart with the 1, 2 and 3 present in it is called the arrow of the planner. Now, these people have an inherent love of order, method and understanding. However, they like the function of organising rather than the practical aspects of it. They need to guard against subtle laziness. Because there will always be a 1 or a 2 present in a person's birth chart, there isn't a name for the arrow, which is the lack of the 1, 2 and 3. Anyone with the 4, 5 and 6 present in their birth chart have the arrow of will. Now, this symbolises the human spine and the life force that flows through it. So powerful is the driving force here that they frequently ignore advice from other people and rarely take heed of their own intuition. Anyone with a lack of the 4, 5 and 6 is called the arrow of frustration, and this is also one of weak will. Many are sufferers from broken homes or unhappy relationships or intense personal confusion. Frustration is unfulfilled expectation. They're often expecting more from other people than they're prepared to give. The 7, 8 and 9 is called the arrow of activity, and such forcefulness is available with this combination. It can produce more than balanced activity. It can lead to hyperactivity. These people can get agitated by a suppression of nervous energy, so peace and harmony are essential for them, or their digestive systems can rebel. The lack of the 7, 8 and 9 is called the arrow of passivity. Now, these people are the thinkers, planners, analysers and behind the scenes guides into the new millennium, but they won't be the achievers unless they undertake a tremendous amount of training in perseverance. Negative thinking can lead to laziness and a failing to recognise their purpose in life. And finally, birth charts with no arrows. Well, these people can be extremely adaptable people that can fit into any environment, social or vocational situation. Their primary lesson, though, is in wise assertiveness. In this section, you're going to be learning how to calculate your day number and exploring what that means for you. Now, your main purpose in life is indicated by your ruling number, but you were never intended just to pursue that purpose without some contrast. And that is to develop other aspects of your personality. Now, that's what your day number is for, which is calculated by the actual day of the month that you came onto the earth. Now, this is a really fascinating aspect to your personality blueprint because it reveals the manner in which you express yourself to the outside world. To calculate your day number, it follows a very simple formula. Any double numbers are added together and then reduced down to a single digit, aside from if it's a 10, an 11 or a 22, which is a 22/4. If you were born on the 1st, then it stays as a 1, and if you were born on the 10th, obviously it would remain as a 10. If you were born on the 19th, it would be a 10. But in case of any confusion, I've done all the calculations for you, and I've created a PDF sheet in your downloads. Now, because each number has the same basic properties, a day number will have similar aspects to a ruling number. However, the ruling number is much stronger. It's important to remember that the day number is intended to represent an alternative self. So if people naturally gravitate towards their day number influence and try and live their life in accordance with that, then they can see their life falling apart. Remember that the ruling number is much stronger than the day number, so it was always intended to be the guiding light with regards to our soul purpose. So let's first look at the day number 1 people. These people are natural leaders. They're ambitious with a strong desire to succeed. They're independent, but they don't like being restricted by teamwork, and bad moods can appear in them if they're caught up in routine. They are the initiator of projects. They're creative, have agile minds, and possess a broad outlook on life, and inspire others with ease. Now, they are strong-willed, but when they're open to the ideas of other people, it can bring opportunities for financial gain. Day number 2 people are sensitive and diplomatic and have developed intuition. They're influenced by their environment and adore beautiful things. Now, this sensitivity can lead to heightened emotions, which can not only be difficult to cope with, but can also make them exceptionally fragile. However, they are prone to depression and suffer from a lack of confidence. They do have strong diplomatic skills and are kind and modest. And they are really gifted with the ability to cooperate and be a good partner, but they do prefer not to be in the limelight. Day number 3 people are the joy-seeking entertainers, desiring to be involved in projects on a part-time basis as they have far more important avenues to explore with their life purpose. Now, they have very active minds and enjoy all forms of humour. They also have a tendency to be critical of other people without even trying to understand their personalities. Day number 4 people are practical and capable and skilled with their hands or feet. They possess an artistic or philosophical view on life. Now, they are hard, honest workers and have a great attention to detail and also great accuracy in everything that they do. They are disciplined, responsible, and are very serious about their obligations. They have a close connection with their family, and they make excellent partners. They are rational, but have a tendency to worry. They're more inclined to be patient, strong, and play safe. They are extremely organised and natural managers, but are often stubborn and inflexible. Day number 5 people need to be able to express their deepest inner feelings. They are sensitive and can develop a shyness which inhibits their true self-expression. They need plenty of outdoor exercise and seek the company of bright, happy people in which they can share laughter and all the fun times in life. They love changes, to travel and to journey and experience adventures. They're curious and love to meet fascinating people and go to unusual places. They're adaptable to fresh conditions and prefer not to be tied to one place for too long a period of time. Day number 6 people are creative at home. Now, they are worriers when they're living negatively and have a tendency to over-dramatise domestic situations, which can lead to fears and insecurities. They are family-orientated and able to neutrally rectify disputes. They're refined with an evolved artistic talent, and they adore beauty and all types of different art forms. Responsible and thorough, relationships always remain at the centre of their attention as they desire to help people, so they make fabulous healers and doctors. They can take everything to heart and be very sentimental. Day number 7 people are the archetypal seekers of the truth. They have a desire to explore the unknown and investigate the mysteries of life. They possess brilliant theoretical minds and have the ability to think analytically. Capable of focus, concentration, research and solving practical problems, they enjoy solitude and prefer to work alone so that they can live with their own ingenious ideas and behaviours. Therefore, it may be difficult for them to maintain close relationships, and marriage can be difficult because they don't want to lose their independence. However, their need for privacy and self-reliance can lead to loneliness, and as these people mature in wisdom, they may be tempted to share their wisdom through teaching. For day number 8 people, independent expression of their feelings, emotions and intuition is really important. They have power and can achieve great success. Their natural gift is their ability to be able to dominate. They pursue excellence and desire success in whatever they do. They are competitive, and this is unwavering unless another goal catches their attention. They enjoy taking on fresh challenges, and they are realists and have fantastic planning abilities. Financial dominance may become available to them because they know how to handle power, money and strength. They are dynamic, productive and ambitious. Capable delegators, they have high expectations for those who work for them. Concurrently, they reward loyal and persistent workers. However, by concentrating too much on the desire to succeed, they can become stubborn, impatient and too ambitious. Day number 9 expresses itself as responsibility driven by idealism. And as such, it helps us to understand the purpose of our experiences with other people. This can imply a very serious role in affairs, and they can become very ambitious under this day number. They have wise and strategic minds, and they are idealistic and very compassionate. Extremely creative with a good education in the arts, they can unveil a wise understanding of life, transmogrifying them into helpers within the community. They deliver practicality with a humanitarian approach, and they're socially orientated with bags of charm. And people admire them and are inspired by them. Day number 10 people are adaptable and capable of forming easygoing friendships because they are generous, gregarious, easygoing and actually really energetic. Because of this, they have many acquaintances that enjoy the pleasures in life. They do need to resist superficiality, as this prevents them from forming worthwhile friendships and prevents them from understanding the real purpose in life. If they become too extravagant with their time or money, it could result in emptiness. They are very ambitious and strive for independence. Possessing leadership qualities and an insatiable desire to succeed, they have razor-sharp minds and fantastic analytical abilities. Driven to become excellent managers, they can create intricate plans and organise others for their successful execution. Day number 11 people are highly intuitive, idealistic and interested in spirituality. They understand other people better than they know themselves. They are sensitive enough to be able to understand human motivations and can react profusely to things. Because they're so deeply sensitive, they can be easily hurt by other people's criticisms about their actions. Gifted visionaries, they are able to inspire other people with their ideas. They have fantastic leadership skills, however their sensitivity can turn their lives into a nightmare. They are empathic, but get deeply affected by other people's emotional and spiritual issues. And they need to work really hard to be able to preserve their own equilibrium in amidst all of the chaos that exists on the planet today. Day number 22 over 4 people are practical and idealistic and driven to succeed. Now this is a powerful number which blends intuition with the practical, leading to the realization that anything is possible. They have great potential as a leader or founder of companies and business endeavours. They're highly adept at being able to implement elaborate plans. They may be afraid of their ambitions or be nervous about their abilities or may mistrust their actions. And sometimes they can release their ambitions for fear of disappointment, which can lead to bitter frustration for them. Please note that day number 22 over 4 only exists when someone's born on the 22nd of the month, and we don't reduce it down to a single digit as we do with someone born on the 31st. In the next module, you're going to be exploring how to calculate your ruling number and your personal year cycle numbers. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Hello again and welcome to Module 4. Now in this section you're going to be exploring your ruling number, how to calculate it and what that means for you. You're also going to be looking at your colour mirrors influences for those numbers and also learning how to calculate your personal year cycle number and where you sit on your 9-year cycle. Now first we have to recognise that all numbers carry both positive and negative connotations. And your ruling number, otherwise known as your life path number, is the most important number within your birth chart because it carries the secrets of your life purpose. This includes your skills, strengths and weaknesses, unique talents and abilities, and the way you express your emotions. It also unveils why your soul has chosen these life experiences, situations and challenges as well. Now it is important to remember that these difficult life lessons will reflect back to you where you also have the most potential to shine like a diamond. It carries the biggest influence in your birth chart, so is an extremely important number to calculate. The easiest method to discover your ruling number is to write out your birthday in numeric form, including the year in 4 digits. For example, if you were born on the 12th of May 1945, you would write 12/5/1945. Then you would simply add up all of those numbers. 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 5 equals 27. Next, add this 2-digit number into a 1-digit number. 2 plus 7 equals 9. It's important to remember that in Pythagorean numerology there is no ruling number 1. Birth dates totaling 19, 28, 37 and 46 are ruling number 10s. Now this is known as a compounded ruling number and there are 2 others, number 11 and number 22/4. Birth dates totaling 22 become a 22/4. So first let's take a look at the ruling number 2 people. These are the sensitive, intuitive and compassionate empaths. The best way to remember the meaning of the 2 is as a sensitive, intuitive and protective female. And this means that a lot of the ruling 2 people are very mystical and very sensitive, but also they can have psychic abilities as well. Therefore, they're gifted with the talent to remain impartial and offering peace into situations of conflict. They thrive in harmonious environments and romantic relationships. Ruling number 2 people desire partnerships and love. And because of this, they must establish healthy boundaries so that they don't lose themselves in these companionships. They shouldn't be too eager to please the other person, and sometimes they feel second best and not heard, so tend to avoid positions of leadership because they're not motivated by ego. Their true purpose is to offer complementary, trustworthy support. They must use their intuition to enhance their self-confidence, as this will be an important aspect of their personal development journey. Ruling number 3 people are inspiring, imaginative and sociable geniuses. They enjoy expressing their emotions and passions and thoughts, and expansion on all levels is the main theme of their life. They incarnated here on earth to share their multitude of creative talents such as writing, poetry and singing. And they are attracted towards working as therapists and counsellors because they enjoy nurturing people and helping in the community. They adore collaborating, socialising and using their natural charm and wit. They use their imagination and alertness and intelligence, and it's far superior to those around them, making them a shining beacon of light wherever they go. From time to time, however, they can experience self-doubt and be self-conscious, so it's really important that they learn to say how they're feeling and to learn true self-acceptance. And if they avoid doing this, it can mean that they are more prone to isolate themselves. Because they can take on other people's feelings, it's imperative that they protect themselves and establish firm boundaries. And when living negatively, they can become overly critical of themselves and other people. So they must become aware of when they're doing this to avoid further isolation. Number 4 people make practical, organised and loyal friends. They have a strong attachment and attraction to the physical aspects of life. And they are very practical and desire mastery in the material world. Think of the number 4 like a square, which is fixed and solid, like a building block for the future. This means that ruling 4 people need structure, order, logic and security, so it can be shared with those that they love. Life always has its ups and downs, doesn't it? And when things are going well, These ruling 4 people make loyal and honest friends. However, when things take a bit of a nosedive, they can become rigid and stubborn and a little bit of a disciplinarian. They make excellent teachers, business managers, or property developers. In fact, anything that requires physical work or organisation. They are the doing people of this work and like to be of practical service and achieve material success in mainstream ways. On their journey, they will be called to let go of old structures that no longer serve their highest good, and this will include old people, places, or limiting beliefs. And by releasing them, it will pave the way for the new to come in. Ruling number 5 people are fun-loving, entertaining, and the archetypal seeker of freedom. They also feel things very intensely, and that's because number 5 is at the centre of the soul plane. It's right in the heart. Whenever they feel controlled or constricted, it will drive them crazy. It is essential that these people have enough variety in their day-to-day activities, and because they are so fun-loving, entertaining, and sociable, they love to be the life and soul of the party. Experiencing life to the max is their key to fulfillment, and if they feel restricted in any way, they can become moody and deflated. Communication and versatility are key ingredients to their levels of happiness, so they must surround themselves with people that allow them to express themselves freely. It is essential that they learn that true freedom comes from within, and because they're such sensitive souls, they can express themselves easily through writing, painting, or sculpture. At various points in their life, they'll be called to let go of old masks, and if any part of them wants to hide, it will make life quite challenging. True freedom can only be achieved by being honest with themselves. Ruling number 6 people are creative and home-loving nurturers. They require balance, peace and harmony in their home life, but also in their relationships, and that becomes their priority. They resonate with the arts and love colour and music and actually anything that's aesthetically pleasing that brings about a sense of serenity. When life fails their expectations, they can take on the role of the victim or the rescuer, and they can worry unnecessarily. Because of this, they must avoid feeling enslaved to their responsibilities and practice the art of detachment. This will prevent them from getting too stressed out about things they can't control. Ruling number 6 people really shine in creative vocations such as artists, designers and writers, or healers and counsellors as well, and that's because they have a deep desire to be of service to other people. In time, their artistic flair will help them to overcome their own anxiety. Ruling 7s are trustworthy philosophical teachers. They have a deep desire to learn their life lessons through personal experience, and sometimes they choose to learn the hard way, creating challenges in the sacrifice of love, health or money. Once these lessons have been experienced, they love to share this knowledge with others, and hence they make great teachers. They are practical, deeply explorative, and have a profound philosophy on life. Investigating the deeper meaning behind life really appeals to them, and they're attracted to the mysteries, illusions, miracles, magic, and the subconscious mind. These people are naturally self-confident and dislike being told what to do. Now, because they like active participation in life, it's essential that they learn through their earlier mistakes, otherwise they may have the misfortune of having them repeated. As part of their personal development, they must try and take advice from other people instead of getting defensive or rebellious. They have a deep fear of betrayal, and it can manifest as being disappointed by others. Investing more faith in the universe and in their intuition is a great way to get the ball rolling. Ruling 8s are independent, organised and controlling managers and leaders, and they possess great confidence in themselves and strength of character. Their lesson is to overcome any restrictions of expressing love and appreciation for themselves or other people, as this will enable them to experience more joy. Ruling 8s have an affinity with financial affairs, and they're able to make and manage money exceptionally well. They recognise that their future needs to be built on solid foundations, and they're prepared to put in the effort towards their goals. They choose to take a methodical approach, and because their life is process driven, they can attain success really well. Now, they tend to attract a lot of admiration from other people that get inspired by them because they are able to be so organised and to lead things independently, and to remain in control. The other admirable thing about ruling eights is that they want to do good on the planet, so may go into philanthropic pursuits later on in life because they want to nurture people who are less fortunate. Ruling nines are ambitious, idealistic and wise healers. They're actually born to be healers and counsellors and spiritual teachers because they are a naturally gifted, wise old soul. They love to explore human emotions and behavioural patterns and can accurately reveal what people are thinking. However, although there is a risk that they might feel isolated or rejected, it is really essential that they look outside of traditional lifestyles in order to be able to be a light for the madding crowds. Following the road less travelled can be a challenge for them because they are so sensitive to criticism. However, it is absolutely essential if they are to fulfil their purpose in life. They have a strong sense of responsibility towards the family. However, their primary desire is to serve humanity. They're more aligned to the arts than the sciences, but they must learn to blend their idealistic fantasies with the practical world so that they can achieve their dreams, which means taking more control over their personal finances. Because 9 relates to Mars and Mars is fire energy, these people must never suppress how they're feeling and make sure they say what needs to be said at the right time. Otherwise, they may find themselves getting angry and frustrated. Ruling 10s are confident, adaptable and fearless leaders. They are talented, assertive, energetic and have superior communication skills. They have a beautiful way about them that seems to influence and attract people. So are very, your fun personality, their fun personality. Ruling 10s are confident, adaptable and fearless leaders. They are talented, assertive, energetic with superior communication skills, and their fun personalities ensure popularity, especially when they're riding the crest of the wave. However, they can become insecure when negativity creeps in, and adaptability is the key to success here. Their lives can become quite routine and humdrum if they don't have that. They embody a soft feminine power, fearlessness and wisdom which can lead them into entrepreneurial pursuits, and they feel on top of the world when they're enjoying the pleasures of life and sharing those with their friends. However, if they're feeling emotionally suppressed, then it can make them feel very despondent very quickly. They are usually light-hearted and prefer not to burden themselves with other people's problems. As a result, this can make a lot of their relationships rather superficial. The more self-aware they become, the more likely that they are to attract success because they're able to meet difficulties head-on. This means that they're well suited to professions in sports, in sales and as business managers. Ruling 11s are compassionate and inspiring spiritual leaders. They are beautifully sensitive and highly intuitive with a passion for caring for other people. They naturally align and are inspired by the metaphysical world and may prefer to avoid a life of workaday routines, and they may not be fantastic financial managers. Attracted by the arts, aesthetics, refinement and culture, these people make excellent personal development coaches and spiritual leaders because they're here to guide humanity forward into the new emerging golden age of Aquarius. They must, however, try not to get distracted from their higher purpose or the material temptations of living in the 3D world. They must make sure that they commit to taking the necessary action steps to fulfill their spiritual pathway. They are deeply compassionate, empathic, dependable and honest, and have a genuine love for their friends and family. Now, this will be their last look at issues of separation. However, in relationships, they must ensure that both parties are standing in their own light and power. Otherwise, they can attract codependency. And finally, we've got the ruling number 22 over 4s, who are highly intuitive and self-confident guides. Now, number 22 is a master number full of limitless potential. And there are two very distinct types that fall under this category. Firstly, you've got those that will fulfill their destiny and are capable of spiritual revolutions. The others, they can become the misfits and underachievers of life and end up with mental challenges. They don't like being told what to do, preferring cooperation and mutual respect so that they feel supported in being able to fulfill their purpose work as they evolve into the new age. Personal development is high up on their list of priorities, and they may be called upon for leadership, advice, and guidance from others. They may appear to be a bit unemotional, but that's because they prefer to steer clear of reactive behaviour, making them an excellent candidate for a politician, a humanitarian, or a writer. They may also be required to look at issues that require forgiveness in their life towards either themselves, their parents, or the Creator. The more that they can let go of the fear and connect to the divine, the easier their lives will become. Hello again. In the next section of Module 4, you're going to be exploring the colour mirror's influences of numbers 1 to 11 and 22/4. So let's start off with bottle number 1, which is represented by the sun, which is yellow over yellow. This is your I amness, and this one vibrates to the energy of the sun, but also resonates with the energy at the centre of your being, the solar plexus. This is true power in the sense that there is an acknowledgement of oneness and the energy of the divine in everything. Yellow is the colour of joy, intellect, lightness and bright, and it's been said that it can clear sad and depression, but also it represents a clearing of old confusion and fear so that you can step back into joy. Remember that number 1 is male, but it's also about the self, and it relates to the ego. And yellow is the colour of the ego in colour therapy. The opposite of ego is joy. So that means that the more we step into joy, the more we can transcend the ego. Bottle number 2 is the moon, which is pale blue over royal blue, and this relates to how you feel. It corresponds to the tides, seasons and cycles of existence, and it relates to the throat chakra and taking responsibility for your word, but also choice as well. Remember that number 2 is feminine and it's very sensitive and intuitive, so the colour blue is exceptional for being able to make yourself heard, or if you're having other troubles with communication. It also relates to peace and protection and connection with the angelic realms. Number 3 is Jupiter. And Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, so it's huge, expansive and powerful. Now we make the colour coral by mixing a little bit of pink love with yellow wisdom, and that's what creates the Christed consciousness. This colour helps us to release old patterns of giving our power away and fearlessly claim who we are and what we're here to do. It's the colour of self-acceptance and self-love. And it enables us to be able to stand up and say, this is who I am on the planet. Number 4 is Uranus, which is yellow over very deep turquoise. Now Uranus is the planet of the future, and so it's about letting go of anything that doesn't fall in line with the new golden age of Aquarius. Uranus is about change and disruption of old order. So it's very much about the 4 physical aspects of change. So letting go of old structures in your life, like your house or your job or any of the material possessions that you own, or even the people and places and even beliefs that no longer serve you. Number 5 is Mercury, and this one is green over green. Now it relates to Gemini, and it's about communication, movement and versatility. And it deals with issues of discipline and freedom. Number 5 is all about freedom. So this is where we have to stop playing the role of the trickster, and if any part of us wants to hide, it will make life very difficult. It's about remembering that freedom can only be achieved if you're honest with yourself. These colours signify change and new beginnings and letting go of old masks. And if you can remember, number 5 sits on the centre of the soul plane and represents the human heart. One of the colours associated with the heart chakra is green. Number 6 is Venus, and it's pale pink over pale pink. Now this one relates to love and balance and harmony in relationships. It relates to when we love ourselves enough on the inside, our reality will reflect that on the outside, and it comes when we reach a place of deep self-acceptance. The more we love ourselves unconditionally, the more abundant and joyous our lives will be. And again, the colour pink is also associated with the heart centre. Number 7 is Neptune, and this one is pale turquoise over turquoise. Now Neptune was the Roman god of the sea and ruled mystery, spirituality and the unconscious. It relates to the mysteries, illusions, miracles, magic, and faith. And also, it represents the aspects of self that maybe don't share their secrets with others and tend to carry all of their own burdens alone, but they're very good at listening to the problems of other people. The seven, if you can remember, relates to the sacrifice. And in this case, the seven energy is about trusting that whatever happens during the process of your life is always for the purposeful good. Number 8 is Saturn, which is lilac over violet. Now, this is old father time and recognizes that your future needs to be built on a solid foundation, which is a bit like the number 8, which is organized, methodical, independent, and likes to be in control. It also brings gifts when we overcome feelings of restriction and burden and reminds us that no one's judging us apart from ourselves. Number 9 is Mars, which is red over orange. So Mars is a powerful ally when we need to get things set in motion. And if you think about the number 9, it's all about completion. So it's powerful and warlike, and it's the source of our fire energy. So we have to use it wisely to get things done instead of being meek and mild and getting angry and frustrated. 9 is also a number of the humanitarian, and there is a huge aspect of being the helper and the healer that's kind of embedded within these colours. Often when we see orange, it's the colour of shock and trauma, and we find ways of being able to deal with that when we harness that life force and take action towards overcoming any issues. Number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, which is gold over olive green. It brings in the gold of our power centre, the solar plexus, with the green of the heart, which is love. And when love and power come together, it can never be abused. So this is a very soft, feminine power and light that is very much in association with the leader. So if you think about the 10 as being the entrepreneur, the leader of a particular business or an enterprise, they carry the same masculine presence of the 1. However, there is a softer side because it brings the heart into it as well. Number 11 is Duality, which is black over white. Now, this is a lack of unity and a difficulty in making decisions as these two colours are opposing. It's about the black and the white, the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. And it's our last look at issues of separation. So often for people with the ruling number 11, it can be quite challenging because it makes them look at all aspects of themselves where they're still judging what isn't right. So when we realise that everything is perfect and that there is no mistake, we can let go of the judgment of God that got us into that mess in the first place, and we can then start to fully realise unity and divine love. And finally, number 22, which is called Forgiveness, and it's deep magenta over magenta. It aligns with the energy of the Fool in traditional tarot, who has to keep on starting his journey over and over again. And the lesson here is to let go and to let God. It relates to the role of the healer, and when we want to perform that role, we have to first forgive God and then ourselves as an aspect of God. Magenta is the colour of the soul, and it brings in a lot of guilt. So often the 22 over 4s have to overcome this feeling of guilt that may have been with them for many lifetimes. It's truly amazing how colours and numbers align, and that's because it's the language of light. The colour mirrors is a deep source of wisdom, and if you're interested in exploring it further, I also offer levels 1 and 2 colour therapy, but also the Colour Mirrors practitioner training program. So if you want more information about that, please feel free to message me through the portal. Next, let's take a look at our personal year cycle numbers. Now, in numerology, we travel in 9-year cycles, and that takes us through a series of peaks and troughs. So our personal year cycle number actually offers us a reliable roadmap to help us identify the best times to launch new projects. So numerology helps us make sense of these peaks and troughs over a 9-year period. Along the way, there are moments that would be more beneficial for you to stop and reflect or inspire change or explore your subconscious patterns and beliefs, or enhance your skill base through higher learnings, or to travel to new destinations, or to express your unique creativity. The year cycles are calculated with this really simple formula. Firstly, add your birthday number with your birth month number with the current year number, not your birth year, and then reduce those down to a single digit. For example, if you were born on the 27th of June 1992, the sum would look like this. 27th reduces to a 9, which is 2 plus 7. June is the 6th month. 2022 reduces to a 6, so the calculation would be 9 plus 6 plus 6 equals 21. 2 plus 1 equals 3. This means that you would be in a year cycle 3 in 2022. How easy was that? So what are the vibrational influences of the personal year numbers? Let's take a look. During your personal year cycle 1, a fresh new wave of energy arrives, which paves the way for new beginnings. It's important for you to explore new ways of doing things this year as the next chapter starts unfolding. It's the perfect opportunity for you to release everything that you've outgrown, so it leaves space for a new project or venture. Now, this includes people, places, material possessions, even old beliefs that no longer serve you. This confident new energy will help you to take action towards your plans and make them happen. As long as your intentions are good and aren't tainted with greed, it is an ideal time for selling assets such as property or businesses or shares, because financial rewards are sure to follow. This intensely powerful phase enables you to break free of old habits and adopt a new lifestyle. That's why it's really important to get your physical body moving and hold unwavering faith in your abilities so that it can propel you forward at maximum speed. During the personal year 2, it's the perfect time for deep inner work for spiritual development following the radical changes of last year. Now, the number 2 is feminine and intuitive, so it's perfect for reflection and contemplation and mindfulness and guided meditations. It's highly likely that your sensitivity will feel amplified and your emotional responses may peak. Therefore, it's essential that you take time out to nurture your own requirements and protect yourself from other people's energy. You may feel more willing to trust your own soul wisdom and intuitive guidance than at any other time. So it's essential to reconnect so that you can activate, clear and concise spiritual discernment. Now remember that number 2 is also beneficial for relationships. So the more you can kind of love and accept yourself within, the more likely your outer world will reflect the type of partner that you truly desire. Personal year 3 is about social expansion assisted by creative imagination and expression. You may feel guided into stimulating your mind by learning new skills and expanding your wisdom. This period offers great clarity of observation, and you will organically feel more alert and attentive than usual. Under this vibration, your thirst for knowledge will consume your consciousness. It's also important for you not to fall into criticism and only see the best in others, and by doing so, you will inspire them to be the best version of themselves. Your creative projects will be recognised and rewarded, so focus only on those endeavours that are sure to bring you joy. This may involve a trip overseas or returning to education or enhancing your consciousness via a personal development journey. Do whatever it takes to be able to enhance your self-esteem and self-confidence. During your personal year 4, you've entered into a trough year of consolidation, so this is the perfect opportunity to build a solid foundation for your future. Now, this period governs the material aspects of your life, such as your house and your job and your finances and even your physical body. Although this is a great year for establishing a business and getting your affairs in order, it's also imperative to release anything that you no longer require. And also be careful when signing contracts or buying and selling, and set a realistic budget. Your physical body comes under scrutiny during this phase, so it's important to dedicate yourself to a disciplined exercise regime and get plenty of sleep. Now, the more you can focus on this, the better, because you're going to need to re-energize and regenerate for the busy year ahead. Issues of security may be thrown into the spotlight, and time devoted to the family will prove to be beneficial, grounding, and joyful. The driving forces of your personal year cycle 5 are freedom, change, and versatility. As your psychic awareness and self-expression expand, you'll be presented with more opportunities for travel overseas and new people enter your world. This makes a refreshing change from the hard work and discipline that you endured last year. Moving house or developing your business become attractive propositions, and you'll feel repelled by any form of restriction. So enhancing your repertoire by new creative projects or creative groups will also enhance that sense of freedom that you much desire during this phase. During your year cycle 5, spiritual and emotional factors are highlighted. Often opportunities to be able to express yourself freely appear out of the blue, so make sure you only select those that feel right in your heart. During your personal year cycle 6, this is the perfect opportunity for you to spend more time at home with your family, doing things that get your creative juices flowing. Venus shines her beautiful pink light of love and balance and harmony into all of your relationships. So it's a good opportunity to be able to create really peaceful and serene and tranquil environments in order for you to be able to give yourself some of your own nurturing motherly energy. You may be called to redecorate or offer yourself a new cosmetic makeover in the form of a new hairdo or wardrobe full of clothes. And any creative projects that you get involved with this year are sure to be very successful, and as long as they're geared towards shining light into other people's lives, they will be rewarded. The negative aspect of the number 6 is the opposite of creativity, which is destruction. Therefore, old relationships which are outdated will disappear. You may need to remember something beautiful about yourself each and every day so that your outer reality will always reflect what's going on in the inside. Your personal year 7 is definitely not the year to make any unnecessary changes. However, it is the right time for you to be able to reassess your life so that you can understand it from a different perspective. This is a powerful transition to learn through your own experiences. So if you're off track or not living authentically or ignoring advice from your inner guidance system or your angelic team, then it will be experienced as sacrifice. However, the higher purpose of all of this is always to get you back on track to living your true soul purpose. Instead of rocking the boat, try and focus and share your wisdom and knowledge with others so that they can learn through your experiences. Now, avoid the temptation as well to expand your offerings, because this quiet time is definitely needed for you to contemplate and to explore the subconscious mind and to teach. This is a crucial time of reconnection to self, as it will reveal a path to greater fulfillment without the limiting expectations of those around you. This will gift you with a detailed roadmap that you can use well into the future. Your personal year 8 is a prosperous and abundant year of swift change. Needless to say, this is a very exciting year. All of your hard work and discipline and dedication have offered you the opportunity to be able to reap the rewards of your harvest. This can manifest as a spectrum of new opportunities appearing as you align with your power and independence. There could be a sudden increase of financial power as you start to realize you're fully in alignment with your soul purpose. Make a promise that your dominant intention will be to only do those things that bring you pure joy. Ultimately, your friends and family will benefit from these decisions, even if they don't agree with them at the time. Nobody knows what's right for you, only you do. So own it. Personal year 9 is about tying up loose ends and preparing for a new chapter. More change is on the way now, but not until later on in this year or next year. You may be called to move house, change jobs, or even change relationships. You may also decide to take on more responsibility and adopt more of a humanitarian approach, and because of that, you may start attracting a lot of people who need your advice. Leave the past behind you, as this year will take you on a cathartic journey of more forgiveness and tolerance for yourself and other people. This is a time of reflection, so be content that you have accomplished many of your goals and welcome in the next 9-year cycle. Well, that brings us to the end of your Level 1 Numerology course. I've thoroughly enjoyed being your guide during this process. Please make sure that you do your Level 1 assessment and send me your 3 case studies. And then once passed, you will be awarded with a Level 1 Certificate of Achievement from the Dreamtime Academy. The next step for you is to move on to Level 2, where you'll be exploring your birth chart and your peak years of maturity through your pyramids. Absolutely fascinating. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.